Spoiler alert, this video will contain spoilers.
Adam Warlock was teased in Gunn's Galaxy Volume 2.
And he's been in the forefront of absolutely nobody's mind up until this point.
However, they did eventually put him in Gunn's Galaxy Volume 3, and I can't say that it was a good idea.
Hello everybody, he's Keto.
And he's Mia.
And we're here to discuss why Adam Warlock does not belong in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
For one, he just doesn't fit in the movie. Now, it's nothing against the actor, more against the writers, if anything.
Apparently James Gunn really felt pressured, which is fair, because he teased him all the way back in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and he felt he needed to pay that tease off. However, I still don't think he should have put him in this movie.
Adam Warlock doesn't really have a good character arc. In the beginning, he's kind of like, oh, he's this super powerful being, but he doesn't have much of a will, and he's not particularly smart, and his mother basically kind of bosses him around and tells him what to do. And he almost steps up to his mother at one point, but that's cut off and not really finished at any point.
Because his mother dies. And after that point, you'd expect that this would cause some kind of character development. However, we never really learn how much he cared about his mother based on his reaction, and we don't get to see him particularly upset by this, because we just sort of cut away.
He also gets a pet from a Ravager that he killed. That doesn't really affect his character too much. It's like, we kind of see like, oh, he's kind of human, he likes the pet, he wants to go train it and teach it the ways of his people or whatever. But I'm not really sure how that develops his character in a meaningful way. It only shows like a part of him, which I appreciate, but it doesn't do much.
And towards the end of the movie, he has a major character shift, I guess you could say, when he kind of seems to make his decision to join the Guardians of the Galaxy in some fashion, where Groot saves him, and then he asks why, and then he uses the kind of cliche line, because everyone deserves a second chance, which at first I thought was a joke. But then at the end, he saves Star-Lord, but during the movie, it's unclear whether he's learning morality or anything. Overall, the payoff feels rather undeserved.
He is barely in this movie. Most of the scenes that he's in, excluding his introduction, which is his best scene in my personal opinion, don't have too much impact. He mainly feels like an inconvenience for the heroes at certain points, like when he runs, like at the very end of the movie, where like he runs into Peter and Gamora's ship, that's all a mess, but it doesn't really feel like he's doing anything for the story.
He feels rather disconnected because a lot of the scenes he's in have him doing his own thing, so he feels more separated in the film on a separate trajectory, which we don't really get to see very much. We also don't get a very good idea about how powerful he is, because it looks like he's on a level similar to Captain Marvel, but he also gets stabbed by a hot sword.
We really don't have a good idea of what his powers are. Like, it is a little flare-up thing at the end of the movie. He can fly, he's strong, we don't know how strong, it's just very vague.
And then in the end, he's randomly allowed to join the Guardians.
After almost killing Rocket and actually killing a Ravager and stealing his pet, which puts the whole movie into action, at the end he's just allowed to join the team and no one really talks about it.
I mean, there's an idea about getting a second chance because all these characters in this group had a second chance, but we don't really know how evil he is, and there's no feeling of forgiveness from anyone because he's the one who nearly killed Rocket, but he never apologizes and nobody ever really mentions it.
And when Groot saves him, it's like, oh, you deserve a second chance. Well, does that mean Groot forgives him, I guess? But why? Why would he think that he should be forgiven?
It's not really answered.
I almost wonder if it would have been better if it was like, oh, we don't let people die, although they also just killed a bunch of people, but like, we don't let I guess it's people die. If they could somehow fit that into the film better, then it's like, that's a reason to save him, as opposed to like, everyone deserves a second chance, but he's the reason everything's a mess.
If somebody like mentioned before, like, oh, he's not all that bad or something at some point, but yes, it's a very big disconnect. I almost feel like he should be the main villain at the beginning because he always kills him. But real quick, we're going to draw a couple of comparisons of Adam Warlock's introduction to the MCU to some other characters.
America from Doctor Strange 2 is also really bad because she never feels like a unique character that anyone should ever really care about. But even she has some interaction with some previously established characters, which allows her to bounce off some other characters and grow and do stuff. I still don't like her, but at least she's better.
Wanda Maximoff in Age of Ultron is also actually a pretty good example as far as the MCU goes. She has a reason for being evil or joining the bad side, then has better reasons to help fight with the Avengers. She showed a little bit of personality, but the way they set her up allowed her to grow more in future movies. She also had a more screen time in the movie that actually influences moments in the movie. She was fully tied into the plot.
Even Peter Parker is a good example of a good intro, but even if he doesn't have an arc in Civil War, but to be fair, he is Spider-Man, so he's a very well-known character.
Spider-Man, woo!
Now, we don't want to be completely negative. One thing that I did like is that he didn't just pop up and fight the villain like most bad turn good characters do.
MODOK, I'm looking at you.
So that's something different. But overall, I hope that they do something good with his character in the future. But for this movie, he just wasn't handled well.
And that's a shame, because the actor really does a good job, and I actually kind of like the character.
Yeah, but I really hope that they do something cool in the future, and I think there's a lot of potential, but they just need to think a little bit more.
But those are our thoughts on Adam Warlock in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Go ahead and comment down below if you agree with us, and maybe how you would introduce Adam Warlock in the MCU.
But another character that was introduced into this movie was High Evolutionary.
And we talk about him in this video over here.
We'll see you over there. But until then, he's Mia.
And he's Keto.
And we hope you have a blessed day.
Bye!